At the family meeting I said, "My kids can't wait for our family trip to Disneyland." Then my sister replied with a laugh, "We already vacationed there without you." I just nodded and laughed. 5 days later, I bought tickets to Hawaii with my kids and posted on Facebook, "A vacation without their drama." And when they saw it 30 minutes later, their angry faces were at my door. If there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that being part of a family doesn't guarantee you a place in it. Not really. I've always felt like the backup daughter. The one they call when Melinda's busy. The one they mention out of politeness. My parents never said it out loud, but it was obvious in the small things. The way my mom's eyes lit up when Melinda entered the room, how my dad only ever asked about my kids if someone else brought them up first. Melinda has always been the favorite. He knows it too. She's the kind of person who's used to being the center of every room, and if she's not, she finds a way to twist the spotlight back on herself. When we were kids, she once faked spraining her ankle during my birthday party just so she could be carried around. My parents still laugh about it like it was cute. So when Mom announced a family meeting to finally plan the group vacation they've been hinting at for years, I was hesitant. But Eli and Harper, my kids, they were excited. And I wanted to give them something, even if it meant sitting through another evening of subtle jabs and being talked over. We arrived at my parents' house with a box of pastries and hopeful hearts. My kids sat politely, Harper sketching on the couch, Eli flipping through a Lego catalog. I looked around at the usual scene. Jake half listening with a drink in his hand, Corey bragging about his new grill, Melinda dressed like she was about to walk a red carpet instead of sit in her childhood living room. Everyone was chatting like this was just another Sunday. When the topic finally came up, the trip, I leaned in just a little. I'd been waiting for this. I smiled and said it casually, trying to sound like it was already understood. "My kids can't wait for our family trip to Disneyland." Melinda didn't even pause. He just laughed. Loudly. Almost theatrically. "We already vacationed there without you." And that was it. No one corrected her. No one looked at me. No one even flinched. Jake glanced at his phone. My dad reached for more chips. My mom looked down at her lap. The worst part wasn't what she said. It was the fact that no one seemed surprised. This had been planned. Agreed on. Executed. Without a word to me. I nodded, stood up and called for Eli and Harper to get their things. Nobody stopped me. Nobody asked where I was going. I don't think anyone even noticed we'd walked out until the door shut behind us. 5 days later I booked 3 plane tickets to Hawaii. I didn't ask anyone's opinion. I didn't tell a soul. I just did it. I posted a photo of the itinerary on Facebook with one simple caption. "A vacation without their drama." That post got 23 likes and one very passive-aggressive comment from my mom that I deleted immediately. But it took exactly 30 minutes for the knock to come. A sharp, urgent one. I opened the door to find Melinda, Jake and my mother standing there. All of them glaring like I had crossed some invisible line. And they had no idea how far I was willing to go now that I'd finally stopped caring about their approval. I wasn't even surprised to see them at my door. Not really. What surprised me was how fast they moved once they realized I wasn't going to sit quietly this time. 30 minutes. That's all it took after my post. Like they were all waiting for me to break character. Melinda was standing in front, arms crossed like she was ready to issue a warning. Behind her was Jake, hands stuffed into his hoodie pocket like he had nothing to do with any of this. And then my mom, already upset, already rehearsing her lines. Melinda was the first to talk, naturally. "So Hawaii, that's your response?" I didn't answer. Not right away. I let her finish whatever self-righteous paragraph she had lined up. My mom said my post was unnecessary. That it stirred things up. She said I made it sound like they abandoned me, which I reminded her is exactly what happened. She claimed the Disneyland trip wasn't meant to exclude us, that it all came together, so fast. Jake stood there like a spectator, saying nothing but looking like he wished he could vanish through the porch. I asked them straight out, "When were you planning to tell me?" They all froze. Melinda glanced at Mom. Jake finally looked down. No one answered because we all knew the truth. They weren't going to tell me. They were going to keep it quiet, post about it later and let me and my kids find out the way we always do, secondhand and too late. My mom tried her usual approach. Guilt. She said I was acting dramatic, that I was blowing things out of proportion, that I was teaching my kids to hold grudges. Then Melinda threw in the word that tipped everything over. It was a small trip. Let it go. Small. My kids had talked about that trip for months. They'd saved up their allowances for souvenirs. Harper had drawn pictures of the castle. Eli asked me every week how many more sleeps until Disneyland. And she had the nerve to call it small. I told them I wasn't canceling Hawaii. Not for them. Not after what they did. That we were going. And if that bothered them, they could feel exactly as left out as we did. They didn't take that well. They left without saying goodbye. The next day my dad called. Said he wanted to talk. Just me and him. No drama. I figured maybe he wanted to apologize. Maybe he'd seen how unfair this had all been. So I went. Big mistake. I walked in and immediately saw a printed copy of our Hawaii itinerary on the table. I asked how he got it. He said Melinda sent it to them. Said she was concerned about me making impulsive decisions out of anger. Then Mom walked in holding that same paper, already shaking her head. She told me I was being divisive. That I was the one creating tension now. That the Hawaii trip wasn't about healing, it was about revenge. I told her I was doing what they did. Taking a trip. Just without them. She picked up the itinerary, ripped it in half, and told me this family wasn't going to survive if I kept pushing like this. I didn't say anything. I didn't cry. I just walked out. I drove straight to the airline's local office. Had them reprint everything. Confirmed our hotel. Rechecked our rental car. I spent more money than I'd planned that day, but I didn't care. I was going to make sure this trip happened. I told Eli and Harper that night. They were over the moon. They didn't even ask why we weren't going with the rest of the family. I think they already knew. But after that the silence started. No replies to messages. Family chat dried up. My cousin's birthday party? Mysteriously rescheduled. Melinda's husband unfollowed me on Facebook. Grandma didn't even call to check in. Harper came into the kitchen one afternoon holding her tablet. She asked me why Grandma hadn't heart-reacted to her drawing like she always did. I had no answer. Just a deep, slow anger growing in my chest. They wanted a family vacation without me. They got it. But they also started something they didn't know how to stop. Because once cracks show in a family like ours, people start looking around and realizing what else they've let slide over the years. And soon it wasn't just about the vacation anymore. It started with a text from Jake's wife. No greeting, no explanation, just a photo of my parents' backyard. The same cheap folding chairs, same sun-faded umbrella, and a new white banner strung between two poles that said Family Barbecue, Let's Talk. I stared at it for a minute, then locked my phone and walked away. There was no apology, no acknowledgement, just a thin, desperate invitation wrapped in burgers and plastic cutlery. That's how my family handles problems. They throw a gathering and expect people to forget why they were angry in the first place. But this wasn't something I was going to forget. Instead of going, I took Eli and Harper to the coast that day. It was cool and overcast, but they didn't care. They collected shells. Harper tried to dig a tunnel with a broken plastic shovel we found, and Eli kept daring the waves to chase him. We got soaked, bought hot chocolate afterward, and drove home with the windows cracked open and our clothes damp with salt. We didn't talk about the barbecue. We didn't have to. I think even the kids knew something had shifted. When we got home I had 14 missed calls. 10 were from my mom. The rest were from Jake and, I'm assuming, Melinda using Corey's number. Then came the messages. First guilt, then anger. I don't know what's gotten into you. This isn't how we handle things in this family. You're hurting the kids, Bonnie. We invited you. You didn't show up. Then one from Melinda in the family group chat. If we're just dividing things now, then I want the lake house keys back. You barely use it anyway. That was the first real tear in the fabric. I didn't even reply. I just watched. Jake responded with, then I'm taking the trailer. I paid for half of it. Corey jumped in, you paid for half? What about the roof repairs? That was my money. Then another from Melinda. You also slept in it for 2 weeks without asking anyone. And just like that, the whole illusion crumbled. It wasn't about me anymore. I had just lit the fuse. What followed was years of quiet resentments unraveling in group chat messages. Suddenly everyone had a list. Who used what? Who paid for what? Who never said thank you? And all of it, every word, was happening in front of Grandma. That's when things turned. The following evening Harper came to me with her iPad. She looked up and said Grandma hadn't liked her latest drawing. The truth was Grandma hadn't liked anything in days. She'd gone completely silent. Not just to the kids but to all of us. The next morning my mom showed up without warning. I wasn't going to answer, but she kept ringing the bell like someone trying to report a fire. I opened the door just wide enough. She didn't ask to come in. She just stepped inside like she still lived there. Looked at the suitcases near the door and asked if we were seriously going through with it. I told her yes. We were going to Hawaii. Nothing had changed. She stood in the living room quiet for a moment, then sat down and started in with the speech. How I'd caused more damage than I realized. How Grandma was upset, worried, hurt. She said the family had started falling apart and it was because of this vendetta I was carrying. That was the word she used. Vendetta. I let her talk until she got to the part she was really there for. She said Grandma had started talking about updating her will. That got my attention. She said Grandma was planning to simplify things. That she didn't want to leave behind a mess. And part of that meant sitting everyone down, together, and deciding how things would be handled. She said Grandma wanted to talk to each of us, one-on-one, before she made any final changes. It wasn't said directly, but I knew what it meant. The house, the savings, the lake property, the trust. It was all on the table again. And just like that, the trip to Hawaii wasn't the only thing being fought over. I didn't say much, just nodded and told her I'd think about it. She left soon after. But I knew already. I'd go. Not because I wanted peace. Not because I forgave them. Because after everything, the silence, the lies, the torn-up tickets, I wasn't going to let them shut me out of this too. Let them pretend we're a happy family. I'll play along. But only long enough to make sure none of them get away with pretending I don't belong. I didn't even know Grandma still wrote letters. But there it was, a cream-colored envelope with my name in that neat, upright handwriting I hadn't seen since high school. No return address. No message inside other than a few carefully chosen words. Bonnie, come Sunday at 3. Alone. No kids. We need to talk before I finish everything. Grandma. No greeting. No warmth. But very much like her. I wasn't sure what to expect. She hadn't said a word during all the fighting. Not when the group chat blew up. Not when Mom started spinning her side of the story to the extended family. Not when the lake house became a contested war zone. Nothing. And yet there she was summoning me. I went. She opened the door herself, thinner than I remembered, hair fully white now but still standing straight as a ruler. She barely looked at me before saying, I know what happened. Come in. She didn't ask how I was. Didn't offer cookies. Just led me into her small kitchen, set a teacup in front of me, and sat down with a worn notebook in her lap. Her words were deliberate, like she'd rehearsed them. She said the fighting disgusted her. She didn't sugarcoat it. Said it was shameful to watch her adult children behave like greedy teenagers. Especially over something that wasn't even theirs yet. I asked how much she knew. She gave me a look like all of it. She opened the notebook and flipped a few pages. It was her will. Names written in capital letters. Lines drawn. Assets listed. There was a column for the house, the savings account, the trust, the lake property. And then there was one small section circled several times. Big house money. She told me she had already decided. She remembered who fixed the broken water heater. Who planted the azaleas out front. Who never left trash behind. She said Melinda had turned it into a social media backdrop, and Jake had let his friends treat it like a frat house. But I treated it like a second home. Then she looked up and said something I didn't expect. I'm not finalizing any of it unless I see every one of you sit down at my table, eat a meal together and speak like blood. I didn't say anything. She continued. If that doesn't happen by the end of the year, everything goes to Richard. I blinked. Uncle Richard? The one who left the state 15 years ago and never came back. The one who didn't show up for Grandpa's funeral. The one who sends bulk Christmas cards and lives in a cabin in Montana? That Richard. She nodded. He's already agreed. He wants nothing but to sell it all, donate half and live quietly until he dies. I respect that. I asked why she was doing this. She looked me dead in the eye. Because I want to see what this family looks like when money isn't involved. I didn't know what to say. She reached across the table and patted my hand, then stood up and started rinsing dishes like the conversation was over. Like she hadn't just dropped a grenade into the middle of a crumbling family. When I got home, the kids were watching a movie. I kissed their heads and went into my bedroom, shut the door and sat with the notebook in my hands. I didn't tell them what it meant. Not yet. Not that everything was now a performance. That we had to play nice to stay in the picture. The next day my mom called. This time her voice was strangely calm. Grandma wants a dinner. Everyone. Saturday night. No phones. No drama. She said it like it was mandatory. Like Grandma was some kind of final judge. What she didn't know was that I'd already seen the pages. Already knew that Melinda had begged to be reconsidered for the lake house. That Jake had argued he deserved more as the only male heir. Grandma had written entitled, next to his name in the margins. And what none of them knew, not yet, was that Grandma had already met with Uncle Richard. And he wasn't bluffing. This was going to be more than just a family dinner. This was going to be a test. And we were all about to fail it. It was the kind of night that already felt wrong before it began. Heavy rain, windshield fog, streetlights flickering like they weren't sure whether to stay on. I parked 2 blocks away from Grandma's place because all the usual spots were taken. Like every relative had shown up early to score points. By the time I got there, my shoes were soaked. I rang the doorbell and Jake answered. No hello. Just a stiff nod like we were business associates walking into a meeting we both hated. Inside it smelled like pot roast and tension. My mom was in the kitchen, acting like everything was normal, humming to herself as she ladled gravy into a chipped dish she's probably owned since 1982. Melinda was already seated at the table next to Grandma, of course, dressed like she was attending a holiday gala instead of a family meltdown. Corey wasn't there, probably smart enough to stay home. Jake walked back to the couch where he'd been nursing a beer and scrolling his phone. No one spoke to me. Not right away. We were all pretending we didn't know exactly why we were there. Grandma sat at the head of the table, hands folded neatly on a cloth napkin, watching everyone like a judge in a silent courtroom. She didn't smile. Didn't greet anyone. Just waited until everyone had a plate in front of them. "We're going to eat," she said flatly. "And afterward we'll talk." Melinda chuckled like it was a cute thing to say. Jake just muttered something about hoping the potatoes weren't dry. My mom started asking if anyone wanted more wine, but no one answered her. Dinner started and it was like sitting through a poorly written play. Small talk, forced laughs, Jake trying to bond with me over a memory from when we were kids. Something that never actually happened the way he told it. Melinda made 3 separate comments about how life is so expensive with kids these days, followed by glances in my direction as if I was supposed to agree or ask for help. I stayed quiet. I wasn't there to entertain them. Then, right as Grandma started slicing the pie, Melinda leaned forward, gave me that polished fake smile look and said, "I was thinking, maybe we can work something out with the lake house. You don't even use it that often." My fork hit my plate. I didn't answer right away. I looked at Grandma. She didn't blink. I told Melinda I wouldn't be sharing it, that we were done pretending things were equal. She scoffed. "You're being ridiculous, Bonnie. Over a summer place with chipped paint and spiders." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "It's not the house. It's the principle. You didn't want us in Disneyland. You don't want us in anything unless it benefits you." Jake chimed in with his usual line, something about how we're all family and shouldn't let one trip ruin everything. I cut him off. It wasn't one trip. It was years. Years of being left out, talked over, invited last, or not at all. This was just the first time I didn't stay quiet. Then it was like a switch flipped in Grandma. She put her fork down gently and pushed her chair back. Then she stood up, slowly but with purpose. "I'm tired," she said. "I've watched this family fall apart one quiet insult at a time, and no one ever thought to fix it. Until now, when money's involved." My mom started to interrupt, probably to defend herself, but Grandma raised a hand and silenced the whole room. "I gave you a chance. I told each of you what I needed to see. People who could sit at a table and speak like family. You couldn't even fake it." Then she turned to me. "Bonnie, you stayed quiet for too long. I saw it. I knew it. I hoped someone would notice, but no one did. That's on me too." She walked to her room, opened the door halfway, then paused and said over her shoulder, "Everything's going to Richard. It's done. Don't come asking me to change it. It's not about punishment. It's about peace." And she closed the door. The silence afterward was louder than anything said that night. Melinda was frozen, pie untouched. Jake looked stunned, like he couldn't believe she was serious. My mom sat back like someone had just unplugged her from the wall. I stood up, grabbed my coat and walked out. The rain had stopped, but the air still felt heavy. I got in my car and didn't drive right away. Just sat there watching the windshield fog up, wondering what would have happened if someone had spoken up for me years ago. The next morning I woke up to the ping of a group chat message. "We should all meet. At my place. Next weekend. No drama this time. Jake." Melinda gave it a thumbs up. My mom replied with a single red heart. They weren't doing it for reconciliation. They were scrambling. Trying to salvage what little ground they had left. I didn't reply. Not yet. But a small, quiet part of me, the part that used to believe in family, kind of wanted to go. Not to play nice. Just to see what they'd try next. It's been 5 months since that dinner. Since Grandma stood up in her tiny dining room, looked us all in the eye, and made the decision none of us expected her to actually go through with. But she did. She passed away 3 weeks ago. Quietly. Peacefully. In her sleep, according to the nurse who called me. There was no drama in her final hours. No long goodbyes, no dramatic deathbed speeches. Just a note on her nightstand that read, "Please don't fight. What I gave for a reason." The funeral was small. Cold day, gray skies. The kind where you can't quite tell if it's going to rain or snow. Everyone wore black. Everyone cried, even Melinda, though she tried to dab her eyes in that rehearsed way like she was posing for sympathy. We all sat in silence at the graveside, bundled in scarves and coats, not quite touching but close enough to make it look like we belonged together. Jake gave a short eulogy. My mom read a poem. No one asked me to speak. After the funeral, we went back to Grandma's apartment. It felt hollow without her. Half the furniture was already gone. She donated most of it in the weeks before her death. The only thing left untouched was her recliner, and the piano stool she'd always refused to get rid of, even after the piano itself was long gone. That's where the lawyer met us. At her old round dining table where the big conversations always happened. He brought out the envelope. The real one. The final will. Not the notebook. Not a draft. A few pages. No emotion. Just cold decisions written in legal language. It was all confirmed. The house. Richard. The savings account. Richard. The lake house. Richard. Everything, even the dusty family photo albums in the hall closet, went to him. And just like that, it was over. Melinda's mouth actually dropped. Jake leaned forward like he was waiting for the twist. My mom went pale. But there was no twist. Richard wasn't even there. He'd already sent a statement to the lawyer, saying he intended to sell everything and make the donations as discussed. He didn't want to keep a single item. After the lawyer left, no one knew what to say. We sat there, surrounded by empty shelves and faded wallpaper, holding cups of coffee none of us really wanted. Then Jake said something no one expected. "Well, I guess we really screwed this up." It broke the tension. Just a little. Melinda let out a dry laugh. My mom shook her head. And I, for once, didn't say anything. Because for once, they were the ones processing the consequences. The weeks that followed were strange. Softer in a way I didn't expect. The group chat came back to life. No more jabs or passive-aggressive silence. Just small things. Jake sent a picture of his daughter's school project. My mom forwarded an old photo of us at the beach. Melinda invited Eli and Harper to her son's birthday party, and shockingly, we went. She didn't make any snide comments. Didn't bring up the inheritance. Just passed Harper a slice of cake and asked if she liked swimming. It's not perfect. It's not close. But it's warmer than it was before. We still don't talk about Grandma's decision. Not directly. But something changed after that dinner. And even more so after that will. Maybe when you strip away the promises, the money, the expectations, what's left is who people really are. And for the first time in years, it feels like they're finally trying to be better. Not because of what they might gain, but because of what they lost.